should.
Oh, okay.
So we're at SeaWorld Research Institute. We're the nonprofit of SeaWorld. So we have been a partner of SeaWorld since we were both founded at the same time by the same folks. So for over 60 years, we've had a partnership. Here in Orlando, we work with the SeaWorld Animal Care team to respond to whale and dolphin strandings along the east coast of Florida. So our team responds to about 40% of the east coast. SeaWorld will go everywhere, but we exclusively do Brevard, Volusia, and Flagler counties. We get about 70 animals each year. Okay. So we stay pretty busy. And then we respond to entanglements as well. So the tools on the table are really just equipment that we use to study dolphins within the Indian River Lagoon. So we use a camera to take images of them because if we look at their dorsal fins, we can tell all the individuals apart. So dolphins their dorsal fin is like their fingerprint. Okay. So from these little nicks and notches on the front and the back end of the dorsal fin, we can tell the individuals apart and track them for decades. Oh, okay. So they all get an individual name, so to speak. They get a 4-digit code. And we have over 1,700 animals in the catalog for the estuarine waters of the Indian River Lagoon and Halifax River. We don't know all those perfectly by name, but we know hundreds of them just by sight. And so these are just, if the girls want to look, they're little viewfinders, and it just shows you what it would be like to look at them through the big camera. And then in the field, we have to be able to identify them sometimes right away. And then we'll use the drone, which is the device in the back, to overfly the animals. And from that vantage point, we're actually able to look at the health of the animals. We actually have LiDAR attached to the drone, so we can measure the animals and we can actually calculate a weight for the animals to see how healthy they are and how nutritionally fit the animals are just from overflying them. Okay. And the drone actually also allows us to look at entanglement configuration. So in entangled animals, we want to know where the entanglement is. Is it around the arms? Is it around the pectoral flippers, the tail? Does it go through the mouth? Before we approach them and try and help them. And so if it's a simple entanglement, it's only on their tail, we can take a knife and or a grapple and put it on the end of like a 15-foot pole, and we'll grapple the gear, cut it free from the dolphin, and then release it really quickly. Sometimes it's really a more complicated or a worse entanglement, and in those cases, that's where we rely on SeaWorld to bring the boat with a net, and would have to set a net around the animal, which would involve like 10 boats and about 50 people to try and disentangle them.
So it's not simple.
No, it's never very simple.
So that's the boat. Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be your next station. And the quicker we know about the animals, the better off they are, and the better their chance of survival. So if you happen to see an entangled dolphin or an injured dolphin or stranded dolphin, there's a 1-800 number from FWC, and it's on this pamphlet if anyone wants it. It's good for any animals, so manatees, turtles. It's on the second page. It says please call, and it has the phone number. You can use that number for any type of wildlife: bears, birds, injured sea turtles. So the quicker we know, the better off the animals will be.
Vertebrae from a fin whale, if anybody wants to touch it.
Thank you very much.
A juvenile that is about 40 feet long. Second largest whale next to the blue whale. It's pretty big. You guys want to touch it in the back? Good?
And then some of the larger whales, so instead of having teeth, they will have, do you girls know what this is called? No, it's baleen. So instead of having teeth, they'll have a bunch of these, like picture this as just one tooth. They'll have a bunch of these in their mouth. It's almost like a broom, so they can catch all the little krill and tiny little things that they would eat on the back side of it, and then ingest it. Instead of having teeth, they have this, like a mouthful of brooms.
Filter the water through.
Okay, so that's for the whale.
We have more information about how if you want it. If you don't, no worries, but if you do, more than your bushners.
We're good.
Good with that?
And then at your next station, or if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up. But at the next station, they'll talk about rescues, and they have their rescue boat and the ambulance. And then turtles around the corner.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys have a great day.
Hi. How are you guys doing? My name is Brant. I'm the supervisor of the rescue operations. I've been with the company since 1995, all with behind the scenes rescue and rehabilitation. And welcome to our behind the scenes area. You know, we keep our fleet of boats back here, our rescue van. We do have some critical care pools back here for injured manatees, sea turtles, and other types of species. We do manatees, sea turtles, cetate, dolphins, and our goal is to rehabilitate sick and injured animals and get them returned back to where they were rescued from. Now, SeaWorld works with a lot of different partners when it comes to doing rescue work, one of them being Hubs, but also many of the other centers throughout the state, such as Moat, Clearwater, and then FWC, Florida Wildlife Commission, is also, we work a lot with their biologists as well. But our boats that we have for rescuing animals, one thing you'll probably notice is that the engines are at the front of the boat. They drive better backwards than they do forward. But this enables us to keep our nets on the back. Like the boat here, the Charlotte, it has about 400 feet of net back here that is about 30 feet deep. Our nets have float lines on the top and flood lines on the bottom, so when that net goes out, it's going to create an underwater wall. And the idea is to encompass that manatee with this net wall, and then it's just a very slow process of using a lot of people power to pull, you know, over 1,000 pounds onto the back of the boat. You know, and this is an animal that's like with a manatee, you might have a entanglement with fishing line, crab traps, boat strikes from the bows or the props. So there's a plethora of different injuries that they might come in from. But once they get onto the back of the boat, from there we get back to the boat ramp, and we typically will transfer to a rescue van that we have on site, such as the one here. We have heavy foam on the bottom and a manatee stretcher in the back. And the stretcher has 2-inch aluminum poles on it. It enables us to kind of drag that animal in and out where we need to. Now these stretchers also have a sling system we can hook up to our crane. And typically once we get to the park, we have to crane animals such as manatee up and into the pools where they can start the rehabilitation process. The SeaWorld has 4 full-time vets on board, and anytime we have an injured animal, we usually have one specific vet that takes that case. And that's pretty much how they handle the caseload of animals here. You know, every time we have a rescued manatee, that manatee has a primary care physician that's really calling the shots on getting that animal better, getting it ready for release. So every day we have one on-call vet, and we get manatee calls in all hours of the day. You know, we get manatees in from Key West, Key Largo. We are the closest rehab center to anything south of us. You know, the other 3 critical care facilities is Zoo Tampa and Jacksonville. They will also care for injured manatees, but that is the 3 only places in the state of Florida that care for injured manatees. Besides manatees, we also take care of sea turtles and rescue dolphins, gopher tortoises, and a bunch of different types of birds that come in for injuries. And again, we're just trying to get them better. We are not a long care facility for any of the animals that we rescue. Just a quick hospital stay before they go back out. But one of the things that we've done over the last few years is we've helped out other states. Whenever they get a really quick cold snap up in New England, there's a lot of sea turtles up there, and they'll get hundreds of sea turtles beached up in New England. We have typically taken a lot of the overflow turtles from their cold snaps, and I'm going to walk you guys over here. We have 20 Kemp's Ridley turtles over there right now that are in the rehab process. We'll give you guys a chance to see some of them. Yeah.
Rescue?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times we'll do the release. The FWC center is down there. There's one in Port Everglades and then one on the West Coast. A lot of times they will do the transport up to us, and then we'll do the release back to that location.
Oh, gotcha. So a lot of miles.
Yes,
For
a lot of
those, for the animals.
Yeah, we just, the past release, this past week we had 2 manatees get released over in Crystal River. Next week we have one going to Fort Myers, and we have one going to Port Everglades, which is north of Fort Lauderdale.
Release them back where we found them.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of biologists out there. You know, they just like Hubs knows all these dolphins off their dorsal fins. All these biologists know these manatees from their scar patterns. So the one that we're releasing down in Port Everglades next week was rescued in Brevard County, but they've had sightings of that animal in the wintertime down in Port Everglades. So he's going to get released down in Port Everglades, which should be an area that he's familiar with. And that's the warm water down there is coming from the power plant down into Port Everglades Energy Commission, which there's a power plant down there. You know, power plants play a, as bad as it sounds, they play a role now in warm water outflows for manatees during the wintertime. Yeah. But the power plants up in the north, where the manatees should not be, also play a role because manatees stop there and stay there up in South Carolina, North Carolina, when they should be heading south. Because just like sea turtles, manatees tend to migrate up and down the east coast a little bit during the summer and winter months.
Do you track them once you release them? Are they tagged?
Babe, yes. It is not every manatee gets a tag, and I'm talking about a satellite tracking tag, but specific cases get satellite tags on. More criticals, ones that are not really sure about. They're just not, they don't have enough tags to go around, and anytime you put a tag on a manatee, somebody's got to be doing the tracking. And sometimes it's a labor picture too, of how many manatees can we actually track right now successfully. But like manatees, temps, turtles, you know, these guys were up in New England, which is where they should be. We just don't reach your fingers in or pet any of these guys. But you guys can get a little bit closer. It's really tough for the kids to see. So they beached up in New England during the cold stunt. They should have been heading to Florida. They didn't make it down in good time. And the critical care facilities up there in New England fill up really fast with hundreds and hundreds of turtles. All the same species, all the same size. These are probably 1 to 2 years of age.
They're not.
No, they're smaller ones. So these guys all have pneumonia, mild pneumonia in the lungs, as well as some skin lesions due to the cold air, cold water. They're all of them have started eating a little bit. They're all still getting some fluids for hydration, and once their blood pictures are better and they're eating well, then they'll get released over River by the Sea, Daytona, Apollo Beach area. And those releases to the locations are dictated to us by FWC. They tell us where basically they're like to go. So they're, you know, neat species, and some of them still have paint. They get so many turtles on, and you can still see that some of them have numbers. Like this one says 334. It's got like 300 turtles. Yeah, so they mark them up in New England. You know, we're not dealing with hundreds of turtles, so it's a little bit easier for us to tell. But you can see this one's, you know, for our standpoint, his name is 23 Owen. He was number 8 in 2023, and we have a little TP, so he's getting 3.5 shrimp every day right now. This is a good time. He's excited to be pretty good. When they first come in, a lot of times they use a little, almost like a tickle stick to try to get him to food. But I would think most of these guys, maybe a month or 2, they should be on that right now. You guys have any other questions? It's a neat process. I mean, you know, when you guys have always, if anyone's come to SeaWorld, you know, I think this is definitely an aspect of, maybe not has been advertising as well, but it's a great way for us. And I've been here since 1995, right out of college, working with the rescue and rehabilitation, but it's always been more of a back burner thing for SeaWorld. And I think we're doing a much better job over the years of highlighting the environmental work that we are doing with these animals.
How big of a team is here in Orlando?
Our rescue team is, we have nine full-time employees and 8 part-timers. And our part-timers they come and go. They're all college grads looking to get some experience in the field and to see if it's something they're interested in. Yeah.
So you guys will be on call?
We are, yeah. And with, you know, we have 3 baby manatees in the back right now. they're starting to eat a lot more. But when the animals come in, you're talking about bottle feedings every 3 hours.
So you guys do that as well as the rest?
Yes. Yeah. No, not me anymore. I supervise the operations, but our team has very. If anybody wants to get in the field, yeah, the hours are not great. Yeah, there are no weekends, there are no holidays when it comes to taking care of animals.
Yeah. You gotta love what you do.
Yeah, but it's a very sometimes chaotic industry with animals coming in and out very quickly and with rescue happening. But it's a neat, very unique and very interesting to work with these species.
Like the manatees in the exhibit in the park. Like,
we have two.
Rescue did not. They can't go back out.
We have two very big ones in the exhibit right now. Sarah and Oakley. They were rescued before I started in '95. They are great anti-dolphins, anti-manatees, but the rest of the manatees in there, and that has really turned into a nursery of orphan manatee calves that are putting weight on, just getting bigger as they get closer to that 600-pound mark, which then enables them to be released. Yeah, that's the parameters that they have decided upon, and not just SeaWorld, any of the critical care facilities. Inevitably, I guess you could say, they're kind of like us. They need warm water. We need warm weather too. We just have clothes we can put on. But yeah, it's more of a temperature thing, and then just the overall size, I think, is going to wear on them very quickly, being that much weight on their internal organs.
Yeah.
Could move on landing.
Yeah, elephants are their closest relative.
Oh.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you guys for coming back and checking us out. We appreciate you. Maybe two.
They're quite young.
Yes, very young.
I want to move it from there. They will be like much bigger in size.
Yeah, I mean these are younger pimps. They will size-wise they will get up to this. They're larger.